Hi, this is Frank Schaefer, and I see a glimmer of hope at this moment of coronavirus, election, disconnect from everything that is usual for us. You know, sometimes a big lens gets held up to history through which we look and then see things differently. World War I, World War II, moments of truth. That doesn't mean everything about them is good by any means, but they change things. Today, for the first time in decades, we are polluting less than we have for maybe 20 or 30 years when it comes to carbon emissions. There are less people on the roads. There are less planes in the air. Today, for the first time in decades, working parents used to dropping kids off at school and daycare with grandparents like me. I do childcare for 3 of my 5 grandchildren every day of the week. It's the great pleasure of my life. Are being confronted with a kind of little house on the prairie moment of being thrown back on our own resources, being with our children, trying to figure out how to educate them at home. Students used to dorm life and connecting with other people just by texting are on their way homes, trying to figure out what their relationship is with their parents. Our government, led by the fraud, con artist Donald Trump and his grifter, corrupt Trump family with Jared Kushner and all the rest, have been revealed for the emperor no-clothes syndrome they are, leading us by lies and denial, calling the epidemic a hoax, and then backtracking, putting Mike Pence in charge, working with Franklin Graham and other evangelicals to pretend that this presidency represents evangelical Christians and their beliefs by calling a National Day of Prayer, which, by the way, Trump did not call. Franklin Graham called up Trump, and they organized it together as a PR stunt, much like getting the CEOs of all these companies to stand behind Trump as if somehow American private enterprise can solve everything. By the way, I went up to the Walmart parking lot this morning to see if they were testing coronavirus victims. All the people I saw out there were employees with no benefits, on minimum wage, with no program for them to stay at home with their children without losing their jobs, smoking cigarettes in the parking lot. There was no sign of any testing. Our airports are jammed with people returning, tens of thousands of people crowded into one hall at a time when we're not supposed to all be congregating together. So much for Trump's policies. But there's a silver lining. We see in this fraudulence the fact that there is something called truth. There are actual scientific facts. Not everything that you disagree with is fake news or a conspiracy or a Democratic Party establishment plot against Bernie Sanders, or the media as the enemy of the people. There are moments of truth and clarity, and it is my hope that by looking through the lens of this coronavirus catastrophe that is engulfing us and will kill tens of thousands of us, that when we come out the other side and as we go through it, we look at the fact that we are so disconnected from nature, so disconnected from ordinary life, that it's unusual for parents to be with their children at home. Think about that. All of human evolution is about pair bonding and community and the survival of the friendliest. Something I'm writing a book about right now, which, by the way, I'm not promoting because it's years away, but I'm working on this subject. And everything our society has done to design career as more important than relationship, to design making money as more important than pair bonding and children and family, is being challenged right now, not by God, not by fate, but by a virus that has mutated and jumped into the human population. From the cruel trade in Asia of live animals and endangered species being eaten as aphrodisiacs and all this other anti-science nonsense, very similar to our evangelicals who are trying to pray away the virus or trust Mike Pence because he's born again. So we have a colossal opportunity here. mothers, fathers, parents, gay parents, to bond again with our children and realize what the primary relationships mean. And it's not all about career and working out daycare options. It's about the relationship you have with a child or a grandchild. We have an opportunity to understand that we can live on less. And by the time this is done, maybe some of us will even learn to cook again, instead of always going out to restaurants or thinking you can just click and get someone to deliver to you. We're going to look again at people on low pay with no benefits and reconsider the forward-thinking programs of Bernie Sanders, who I did not vote for because I don't think he could become president, but who had good programs along with Elizabeth Warren, really challenging us to reorganize our society around human values first and corporate values second. So whether it's parents reconnecting with children for the first time in a long time, doing more than just dropping them off at school to pursue fancy careers, whether it is us confronting the fact that in that Walmart parking lot up the street I went to this morning, there's no testing going on. That's all just PR, corporate, Trump regime bullshit. What there is disgruntled employees who are not being given any protection from catching the virus from people buying tons of toilet paper and hand cleanser. The reality of our failure as a culture is about to crash home to us. And whether we learn from this and improve and get better, or whether we are swept away by it and hurt, is our choice. But there are more important things than jobs and the stock market. Donald Trump is a fraud and is exposed as such. This is our chance to reconnect with human values. My name is Frank Schaeffer.